What if one of the greatest minds in psychology wrote a book, but hid it away for decades, fearing the world wasn't ready? A book filled with visions, angels, demons, and a descent into madness. This is not fiction. This is the true story of Carl Jung's Red Book, a manuscript that remained locked away for nearly a century. And when it was finally revealed, it changed everything we thought we knew about the human psyche. Welcome to Hidden Chapters. Today, we unravel the mystery of Carl Jung's secret book library. Carl Gustav Jung, psychiatrist, visionary, mystic. Most people know him as the founder of analytical psychology, the man behind ideas like the collective unconscious, archetypes, and the shadow. He worked alongside Freud, but where Freud saw human behavior as rooted in repressed desires, Jung believed something deeper stirred beneath the surface. He wasn't just a scientist, he was a spiritual explorer, and in 1913, something happened that would push him to the edge of reason and give birth to the book he kept secret for the rest of his life. It started with dreams. Night after night, Jung was haunted by apocalyptic visions, floods engulfing Europe, rivers of blood, and civilizations crumbling. He feared he was going insane, but then World War I broke out. His visions weren't madness, they were prophecy. This realization shattered his understanding of the mind and reality. If the psyche could tap into collective, even prophetic truths, then psychology wasn't just science, it was a spiritual practice. Jung decided to explore his own unconscious like an inner continent, and he began a terrifying, beautiful, and transformative journey inward. Jung gave this journey a name: the confrontation with the unconscious. Every day, he would enter a meditative state, something like a transcend, allow visions to emerge. He spoke to figures that appeared, asked questions, recorded their answers. It wasn't imagination. It was, to him, active imagination, a sacred dialogue with the unconscious. Over the next 16 years, Jung transcribed these visions into a massive leather-bound book. He wrote in flowing calligraphy, filled its pages with vivid symbolic paintings. He called it Liber Novus, the new book. But most people simply call it the Red Book. So what's inside the Red Book? It's not a theory, not a textbook. It reads more like scripture or a myth. Jung descends into the depths of his own soul. He meets characters like Philomena, wise old man with wings, who becomes his inner guru. He confronts Salome, a seductive feminine figure representing his anima, his inner feminine. He meets a serpent, a red one-eyed devil, even Christ and Satan. He walks through deserts, mountains, cathedrals made of bone and light. He dies and is reborn again and again. It's like Dante's Inferno, the Book of Revelation, and a psychological case study combined. But the message: to find the self, one must go through chaos. One must descend. One must face the shadow within. One of the core ideas that emerges from the Red Book is the concept of the shadow. This is the part of ourselves we reject, the dark thoughts, primal drives, and painful truths we deny. Jung didn't just write about it, he lived it. He faced it in vision after vision, and by doing so, he discovered what he would later call individuation, the process of becoming whole. Individuation is not perfection, it's integration. To become your true self, you must embrace all of who you are, light and dark, masculine and feminine, order and chaos. The Red Book wasn't a book for others, it was a guide for his own soul, but it would become a map for anyone brave enough to follow. So why did Jung never publish it? Why did he keep this monumental work a secret? Because he feared it would be misunderstood? In his own words, to the superficial observer, it will appear like madness. He was right. It's wild, surreal, mystical, and yet, he believed it was the source of all his later theories. When asked where his ideas came from, he once pointed to the Red Book and said, "All my works are a more or less successful attempt to express the things that were opened up in this period." To Jung, this was sacred. and sacred things require time and readiness. After Jung's death in 1961, the book remained in a Swiss bank vault. Only a handful of scholars were ever allowed to see it. Rumors swirled: was it too dangerous? Too esoteric? It took decades of negotiations with his family, but finally, in 2009, the Red Book was published. The world finally saw what Jung had seen in the depths, and it shocked the psychological and spiritual communities alike. Here was Carl Jung not as a scientist in a lab coat, but as a visionary, a mystic, a spiritual pilgrim. The book sold out instantly. It now sits in the Library of Congress and university libraries around the world. But it's not easy reading. It's dense, symbolic, poetic. It's not meant to be read, it's meant to be experienced.